But sir, nobody worries about upsetting a droid.
That's because a droid don't pull people's arms out of their sockets when they lose. Wookiees are known to do that.
What's up, everybody? It's Tips from 10-Minute Movie Reviews. In the last video, we looked at Star Wars Andor. It really got me motivated to rewatch the movie that started it all, Star Wars. Or as it's known now, Episode 4, A New Hope. Doesn't quite have the same ring. I also mentioned I'm a big Star Wars fan. So much has happened to the franchise in the last 46 years. Is it as good as I remember? Well, let's find out. When I say I'm a big fan, I'm not saying that lightly. I watched the trilogy over and over when I was a kid. But with no new content coming out, I'd slowly lost a bit of interest. In 1991, I stumbled across a Star Wars book called Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn. It's a book that follows our favorite characters in adventures against a new foe, Grand Admiral Thrawn. I was hooked again. That book led to a new trilogy of books. I was convinced they would make these into movies. No such luck, but it did kick off a bunch of new books, and eventually the prequel movies came out. Now that Disney owns Lucasfilm, there's a ton of content, and it's all based on that first movie that was so successful way back in 1977. Let's quickly cover a bit about the plot and characters. The movie takes place a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Sorry, I couldn't help it. Anyway, it follows a young farm boy named Luke Skywalker as he becomes embroiled in a galactic conflict between the evil Empire and a scrappy group of rebels. Along the way, he teams up with a wise old Jedi Knight named Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Hello there.
A charming smuggler named Han Solo.
It's all a lot of simple tricks and nonsense.
And a fierce rebel leader named Princess Leia.
I recognized your foul stench when I was brought on board.
There are so many things to love about this movie. For one, the universe they created is fantastic. It's the building blocks of what we love about Star Wars today. Director and writer George Lucas created a rich, immersive universe filled with strange creatures, epic battles, and a fascinating mythology that has captured the imagination of millions. The special effects were groundbreaking for their time. There are moments of great action, space battles, genuine humor, and heart. This movie was really the beginning of so much. Not just the Star Wars universe, but the creation of special effects that eventually became industrial lights and magic. It was also the beginning of sci-fi movies being taken seriously. It was taken seriously because of the quality of the storytelling. It's not just about space battles. Okay, nobody can knock what is done for the cinema experience for generations of moviegoers, but it's not without its flaws. We'll get back to that in a bit. Let's cover the main characters, and I'll tell you some stuff you probably already know. Princess Leia is a diplomat that is secretly a member of the Rebel Alliance with plans to a secret base called the Death Star. She's trying to reach Obi-Wan Kenobi to help them in their efforts, when Darth Vader catches up to her ship and boards it looking for the plans. She hides the plans in R2-D2 and sends R2 down to the surface of a planet to find Obi-Wan and to keep the plans away from the Empire. Luke Skywalker is a young moisture farmer on the desert planet of Tatooine. He dreams of leaving his mundane life behind and becoming a pilot like his father, who he believes was a navigator on a spice freighter. Old Ben Kenobi is a hermit living in seclusion on Tatooine. At least that's what we're led to think. Until we find out that he was once a great Jedi named Obi-Wan Kenobi, and was a close friend and mentor to Luke's father, who we find out was also a Jedi. Han Solo is a smuggler who becomes involved in the Rebel Alliance mission when he agrees to transport Luke, Obi-Wan, and the droids to Alderaan. He and his co-pilot Chewbacca are in debt to Jabba the Hutt and are in it for the money. Han's expertise as a pilot and a smuggler proves invaluable to the mission as he serves as captain to the iconic ship, the Millennium Falcon. Finally, Darth Vader.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
He's the main antagonist and enforcer for the Empire. He's a powerful Sith Lord and one of the most feared individuals in the galaxy. Throughout the film, Darth Vader demonstrates his ruthless nature, using his formidable skills in the Force to dispatch anyone who opposes him. Ultimately, the cast is talented, the special effects were groundbreaking, the story is entertaining, but the direction could be better. Many scenes in the movie feel rushed. Lucas's direction seems to be, do it faster with more energy. This makes some of the characters a bit one-dimensional at times. These are things that were fixed in The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. However, the style of the movie sets up the whole Star Wars universe perfectly. Let's talk about the critics. Rotten Tomato gives it 93% on the tomato meter, and the audience score is 96% with over 250,000 reviews. And IMDb rates it 8.6 out of 10. Roger Ebert said, "Star Wars is not a great movie in that it describes the human condition. It simply is a fun picture that will appeal to those who enjoy Buck Rogers-style adventure." And Richard Corliss of Time magazine wrote, "Lucas is a true master of the swashbuckling, Joseph Campbell, cliffhanging tradition of Saturday serials, comics, and children's adventure stories." Here's some interesting facts about the movie. The opening crawl was inspired by the Flash Gordon serials that Lucas watched as a child. The idea was to give the audience some context for the story before diving into the action. The iconic lightsaber sound was created by combining the hum of an old TV set with the sound of a film projector. The famous Han shot first controversy stems from a change that Lucas made to the movie in the 1997 re-release. Now, we all know Han shot first, but Lucas felt that Han shouldn't be a cold-blooded killer. After all, he was going to fall in love with Princess Leia. But he should only kill in self-defense.
That is so lame!
The movie's budget was $11 million, which for a sci-fi movie was considered high at the time. It went on to gross $775 million worldwide, making it one of the highest grossing films of all time. Let's talk about the performance of some of the actors that played big parts in A New Hope. Harrison Ford's performance as Han Solo is one of the highlights of the film. Ford's natural charisma, effortless cool, it makes him the perfect fit for the roguish smuggler with a crooked grin. He brings a level of humor and warmth to the movie that might have otherwise been lacking.
But everything's perfectly all right now. We're fine. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you?
We're sending a squad up.
Through subtle gestures and expressions, Ford's body language tells us a story. Mark Hamill's performance as Luke Skywalker is a vital piece of the movie's success. He brings a sense of wide-eyed wonder and youthful enthusiasm that is essential to the film's sense of adventure and discovery.
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Although Luke is meant to be a naive farm boy with little experience of the wider galaxy, Hamill's portrayal in the first film is a bit stiff, whiny, and rushed. Carrie Fisher, who plays Princess Leia, portrays her as tough, smart, and independent, a character who is every bit the equal of the male heroes she shares the screen with. She delivers her line with wit and with a sense of authority that makes it clear she's not to be trifled with. So does it hold up, or was I disappointed? Well, that's a big question that I've been struggling with. The movie holds a special place in my heart and the hearts of millions of people around the world. It was absolutely revolutionary filmmaking at the time. The effects, even the ones updated in 1997, are a bit of a letdown for today's audiences, and there are some issues I struggle with in the movie. I'll give you a few quick examples. At the beginning of the movie, C-3PO says this:
"There'll be no escape for the princess this time."
This would suggest that he knows who the princess is, or has seen her before, right? Which he did moments later when she gave R2 the plans. Then when Luke stumbles upon Leia's message, 3PO says this:
"I'm afraid I'm not quite sure,
Help
sir.
me, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I think she was a passenger on our last voyage, a person of some importance, as I believe."
How could he not know? Small, but bothersome. Here's another one. Leia's home planet is completely destroyed, right in front of her eyes. The next time we see her, she's hanging out like this and cracking jokes. No tears, as everyone she has ever loved was vaporized. She never reflects, and nobody even mentions it ever again. But then Luke sees Obi-Wan struck down, a guy he's known for what, a day or two? And he is absolutely destroyed. Leia has to console him. Very weird. So this one was a tough one because I know I'm going to get some crap if I'm too critical. But I have to be honest. I still do love the movie, what it has done for everything that came after it. But it is truly dated. After my rewatch, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Most of this score comes from its epic nature and because it's part of my childhood. My fellow Star Wars fans, I'm sure, aren't too happy with that, but I challenge you to rewatch it with fresh eyes and tell me I'm wrong. That about does it for me. I hope you enjoyed this quick review and let me know what you think in the comments. I know you will. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing and hitting the like button. It really does help the channel, it's free, and you'll be notified of future videos.